Public concern over whales in captivity rose dramatically after the release of the 2013 documentary Blackfish. Tim Zimmermann is a co-writer and associate producer of that documentary. In fact, his article, The Killer in the Pool, that inspired it, and he joins us now from Washington, D.C. So thanks for joining us, Tim. The film has been viewed as a catalyst by many for helping to raise awareness and end these shows. How do you feel that they are coming to an end?
Well, I think due to Tilikum, really. It was his life and the public awareness of the conditions of his life that came out through Blackfish that started to help raise questions about the morality of keeping killer whales in captivity. His life perfectly captured all the pathologies and problems of captivity for killer whales: separation from your family, isolation, placement with different random killer whales, medical issues. And I think once people understood what he was going through, it became clear to them, or many people anyways, that going to see killer whales for entertainment wasn't really a very good thing to be doing.
Tilikum, of course, having just died, a whale that was involved in the deaths of 3 people, trainers and an individual who wandered in to his enclosure. Do you think that being in captivity had an effect on him mentally in terms of his behavior?
I don't see how it could not have an effect on him, both in terms of his mental health as well as his physical health. And I think it's tragic in a way that it took 3 humans dying before the public finally took notice of what his life was like. But as I mentioned, I mean, captivity is just a very unnatural situation for a killer whale. It's confinement, it's isolation, it's separation from their tight-knit social groups, it's health stresses, it's mental stresses. And for Tilikum, from very early on, he started to develop certain tendencies which are only a product of captivity. If things came into his pool or fell into his pool, he would grab them and behave in potentially violent way with them. And so when people came into the pool, they did not get out of the pool. So I think that is very much captivity.
So even though they won't be doing tricks in the same way that they were, these whales will still be in captivity. So is this a fight you will continue to carry on with?
Well, I think that this is something that the public is carrying on with. The amazing thing about Blackfish is that it started really a grassroots movement. It wasn't a campaign that we, the filmmakers, or anyone else was intending to launch, was planning to launch, had a certain goal. We set out to make a film that told the story of Tilikum and helped explain why he killed 3 people. So I think that fight that the public is carrying on now by not attending marine parks and by using social media to campaign against keeping marine mammals in marine parks will definitely continue. And I think that even though it moves slowly, as you say, SeaWorld will continue to have killer whales probably for decades to come. Change is happening. And I think eventually people will also start to consider the lives of dolphins and other marine mammals. Change is slow, but I feel that this is very steady change.
Now, SeaWorld says that although they aren't going to be doing the tricks anymore, these animals will be there. They'll be there and involved in education and involved in research. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, I think that it's ironic in the sense that the only reason SeaWorld had killer whales in the first place was that they were allowed to have them under an educational display license or exemption from the Marine Mammal Protection Act. So it's ironic that it's taken about 40 years to get to what will probably be a much more legitimate educational show. But as you noted, from the point of view of the whales, what's the difference? They're still in concrete pools. They're not going to notice that they're doing an educational show as opposed to a circus show. So I think the big issue for them is the welfare of those killer whales best suited over the next 10, 20 years. They'll still be alive at SeaWorld with shows, or will SeaWorld eventually come to the conclusion, and maybe the public will continue to pressure them, that perhaps they should retire some of these killer whales to natural sea enclosures. That was something that people hoped Tilikum could spend the rest of his life doing, at least get back into the ocean under human care and away from the stress of a concrete pool, but it never happened. Maybe it will happen for some of the killer whales he left behind.